Hey guys, it's Matt for Antihero magazine. I'm joined today by Tommy Victor from the always fantastic Prong. How's it going, man?
Great, Matt. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. Always a pleasure. And obviously you're here today because you're touring to promote the upcoming record 0 Days. Today you'll support its Spoil Engine and Hark that you're playing with.
Yes.
Did you get to choose those guys yourself, or was that a management decision or something else?
Management, booking agent. But we've come to like Spoil Engine. They're really nice people, and this chick is pretty badass. She's good. And Hark we toured with already, and when we heard they were in the bill, we were very happy about them. We really like those guys.
And I've been checking out some of the set lists for this European tour you've been doing. A lot of stuff from the Cleansing record has been...
That's the record, the only people know that record. So well, you know, it's the best-selling record, and you might as well hit them hard with stuff that most people know.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So, you know, why shock them and try to confuse the audiences with a bunch of new songs, etc. I mean, we play enough new shit, so...
What is it about Cleansing in particular that you think makes it stick out for Prong fans?
Because it was in a time when there wasn't that much, there weren't that many boundaries, and that was something different for people. And I think we came out fresh. I mean, it was something that no one heard before, combining like post-punk and metal and hardcore into one package. It was unique and it was exciting. So. And in an era now where everything seems to have been done, you know, we're pretty proud of that record. And it was, we took a lot of chances because we started off as sort of like this speed metal hardcore band. And we're like, you know what, we don't want to do that anymore. We're going to do this groove metal thing. And, you know, it sort of took off, and we took some chances, and it worked. I mean, it worked on Beg to Differ, and then we changed, you know, format again, and really with Cleansing.
And it seemed that sort of era where Cleansing came out, it seemed like there were lots of scenes developing in metal, like you had new metal and groove metal and stuff. Did you ever feel like Prong was part of a scene?
Never part of any scene or genre, and that's what's hurt my bank account considerably over the years. Because, I mean, the genre-specific bands make out like bandits. I mean, you know, from Maiden to, you know, the thrash metal, the strict thrash metal acts. You know, it's something to rely on, you know, and then the power metal stuff. I mean, I thought that was gone when Cleansing came out. I was like, you know, now like, you know, bands like Iced Earth are doing better than ever. So who knew? Anyway, you know, I don't think it's in me I never really felt part of a scene or a subculture. That's just not my bag. So, you know, Prong is an honest reflection of all the guys, and we're not skinheads. We're not strictly just metalheads or whatever. We're just, you know, we love all music, and you know, it's just gelled into this thing called Prong.
Yeah, and that was one thing I was going to ask, because obviously nowadays we associate Prong with Tommy Victor. It's very much your band. Was that what it was like early on with like the original lineup? Was it very much your band?
No. I mean, Mike had a lot to do with it, and Ted. Well, Ted always had something to do with it. But as far as like lyrics and singing, the job sort of got pointed over to me a lot of ways as time went on, and just basically because of my work ethic. Really, it was like, you know, I was the guy staying up till 3 a.m, waking up at 6 to go to work, and then I just was so energized by the whole thing that, you know, and I enjoyed doing it. So it just all fell on my lap eventually.
Do you think that nature that you have is why Prong recently has been so quick with making albums? Because you've made 5 albums in 5 years, if that's right. So is that workaholic nature, is that driving this?
Yeah, once I get in there and there's a deadline, you know, I can do it. So, and I've been saying that for years. I go, give me the deadline, tell me when to do it, I'll make it happen. Don't know if it's going to be that great, but, you know, art is that way in some ways anyhow. You just do it and see what happens. Yeah. And you're willing to throw a lot of stuff in the garbage can as well. So maybe, I don't know, other people have to make that opinion on me. I really don't know who I am a lot of times. But, you know, once I get in there and do it, I want to get it done, and I want to do it. But I don't want to rip people off. I want people to buy the record and get it, you know, and like it.
With this quick schedule that you guys have you ever, like, with a record, have you ever thought, oh, I wish I had more time to finish this?
Not on these new ones. You know, because they're strategized around this time frame. And I had experiences in the past where we have this longer period to do stuff, and I don't think it really came out any better. Like, we started changing things and questioning stuff, and it's like, now we don't do that. It's like, it's done, you know, right, we like what's going on and we stick to it.
And obviously we said at the beginning that you're touring to promote 0 Days. Are there any leftovers or any pieces of music, because of the quick schedule, that you think could be used for a next record, like leftovers from this?
Well, there always is, and I don't go for it. Like,
okay.
Yeah, it's usually like, well, let's look at the older riffs. I'm like, yeah, all right, it's okay, but you know, I like it all new.
Yeah.
So we haven't done that. There's always stuff left over. There's tons of stuff left over. Because I'll go in and, like, in the first month, designing a record, you know, I'll go in and just write hundreds of riffs. I'll put different, on a click track, I'll just go in and I'll start doing all this. Most of it's absolute garbage. So, you know, a lot of it's been thrown out, and, you know, we listen to stuff and it's like, no, that's not bad. All right, let's listen to it next week, you know?
Yeah. So it's a case of, like, once it's not good enough, it's never going to be good
exactly.
enough. Yeah.
Totally, that's it.
Yeah. And there are lots of... One thing I noticed about this record, there's, like, lots of melodic tracks on it. You've got tracks like Blood Out of Stone and The Whispers that sort of almost give me, like, that 90s sort of MTV sort of vibe. Is that the sort of aura you were going for with those songs?
Not really. It's sort of by accident. That's, like, hard ingrained in me. Like, you know, even, like your listeners, people are probably not going to want to hear this, but... Like, you know, I went to see, like, Tony Hadley from Spandau Ballet. I was like, holy shit, these songs are fucking cool. So I was like, you know, and then I started listening to Stranglers again. And, you know, just, you know, when some of that stuff gets energized into a prong format, you know, a little, like, tinge gets in there. So I love those songs. I mean, that's, like, really, I'm proud of those.
Definitely. And the first 3 songs on the record, especially, are really some of the heaviest stuff you've done in quite a while. Did you put those 3 together at the beginning intentionally to, like, throw people off?
Well, the sequencing it's always difficult. Like, However It May End, the opening track, that was one of the first songs that I wrote for the record. And Off the Grid, and 0 Days. So it wound up, those were, like, the 3 initial... of the group that I mentioned, of the multitude of riffs that I had during that month that I was working on stuff, those were the 3 that came out of that. Like, and those were more heavy, you know, riff-oriented stuff. Then, you know, more stuff get generated around that. So it was completely by accident that you were like, those are the hardest hitting ones, let's put those up top, you know. I mean, there's hard stuff later on, like, Chris Collier had a lot to do with Self-Righteous Indignation. I mean, like, you know, I was like, you got anything, like, you know, on a 7-string? And he's like, no. And like he goes, well, maybe we go down with the 7 on this, you know, and like that riff. And I'm like, we're gonna go down on that. So, you know, we fit things in later to make the record more whole. You know, that's like Blood Out of Stone came out. I go, let's get a real good, like a freaking song here too. So we filled in blanks after the hard hitting ones. Like, all right, we got the heavy stuff. You know, how much it's Prong. It's just not Slayer. Like, let's evolve into the rest of the record.
Yeah. How many songs from the record are you going to be playing tonight?
Just Divide and Conquer.
Just Divide and Conquer.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you released However It May End as a single as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a little. I mean, I had a bunch of Danzig dates and shit, so that's been a little bit hard for me to get the coordination between singing and playing. Inevitably, I will, but I couldn't do it. It's pretty hard. Yeah. So it's even hard to play. So we had Forced Into Tolerance done, but you know, this schedule was so bad. Like, you know, I want to get that one really dialed in before we play it. Let's wait till the record comes out. We'll probably start playing that next week.
Yeah, definitely. You know? And before we wrap up, I want to ask: it's the 30th anniversary of your first ever release, the Primitive Origins demo this year.
Wow.
30.
That's right. It is. Okay.
It's gone so quickly, I imagine. And so
it has gone quickly.
I wanted to ask, like, when you look back at like that era of Prong, like the 1987, what are the first things that come to mind with that era of the band?
I think struggles, you know, and smarts. Like I think we did things smart, but we were always battling. Prong was always battling something. Like it wasn't like everyone loved us. It was like, you know, oh, these guys are kind of different and like weird, and you know, we don't really know what's going on. So it was always uncomfortable, you know, like always. And it's, you know, that's really what I remember about it.
And that demo as well was very much a hardcore demo, much more hardcore than the more modern sound. So when was that change from like the full out hardcore punky Prong to sort of the Prong that we're more familiar with now?
I think when I started learning how to play guitar a little better, like that had something to do with it, because really when Prong started, I really wasn't playing guitar much. I played bass as a kid, and like I was in like stupid bands, and nothing ever really worked out. I did right before Prong, I played guitar in like this sort of like a Gen X type band, and then the bass player singer ran off with all the money, and I was like, I'm not playing anymore. So then Mike said, I heard you played, and I was like, yeah, you know, like, you know, and then like once I got together with him, and he's like, okay, you play guitar. Then I was like, all right, I better start figuring out what the fuck I'm doing here. So then I started like listening to like Bad Brains records and, you know, Celtic Frost, then up to Metallica, and just trying to figure shit out. So that's what brought it back. We're, you know, like trying to make it professional, but we were on the job training all the time. Like I didn't sing in a band before. I didn't know what the hell. I'm still learning things as I go along with that.
So you were the bass man in a lot of those early bands before?
Yes. Guitar I just picked up later, like, you know, I never had any time, like, even though, I mean, maybe just in the beginning, and I was working a full-time job, and then I'd sit down every once in a while with, like, maybe a Metallica record or something to get my chops up a little bit, and, I don't know, it sort of came naturally a little bit, you know, it's like, but I've never been one of these guys that, you know, was was taught, like studied, had all these guitar tutorials, etc., figuring out all this crazy shit. Has never been my bag.
Very much DIY approach to
exactly, totally. On the job training, teaching myself what to do.
Yeah. Now that's punk rock right there.
It is. I mean, the thing is, we lived like punk rockers back then. I mean, like Mike and I lived on the Lower East Side. I mean, it was like, you know, it was rats and abandoned buildings and drug addicts and, you know, just artists and just people, very countercultural and environment. So I mean, it did come out of a Lower East Side punk mentality, the band.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time today, man. I'm going to wrap it up there.
Okay, thank you, buddy.
Everyone go and buy 0 Days. It's available
please.
On the 28th of July.
You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, well, better not be now. Also, happy birthday, Primitive Origins.
Thank you.
Until then, Tommy Victor, everyone.